Welcome to DepEd TV. It's a brand new day, a brand new chance to learn. I am Ma'am Derry, and I am very excited to bring you today's lesson. So set your mind, ready your heart, and brace yourselves. We explore the world of oral communication. For this episode, we will talk about the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. What are the appropriate strategies that can be used to avoid communication breakdown? Let's figure them out all together. But before we begin, let's first have a recap. Let's recall the different barriers to communication. Let's look at these pictures so we can easily recall each category. What barriers to communication are these? These are physical barriers. These are hindrances to successful communication based on natural and environmental conditions. What about this one? What barriers to communication are these? These are psychological barriers. These are strong emotions caused by social and personal issues that hinder us from communicating well with others. Take a clear look at these photos. What barriers to communication are these? These are cultural barriers. These are beliefs, traditions, and values of different people which make hindrances in the flow of communication process. Last but not the least, what barriers to communication are these? These are linguistic barriers. These are barriers pertaining to differences in accent, pronunciation, structure, and meaning of languages. It is nice to know that you remember so well the different barriers to communication. We are going to need this knowledge so you can apply what you will learn from our next lesson in your daily communication lives. Let's start with getting to know the current situation of Barangay Masunuri, and let's figure out how we can help them.
In this pandemic season, the people of Barangay Masunurin are having a problem in following the quarantine measures implemented by Kapitan Alvin. To solve this, Kapitan Alvin posted an online forum so the community can share or suggest their own thoughts and ideas on how to solve the problem. The people in the community have different opinions and ideals on how the said problem can be solved. Some have very confusing statements. Others don't take into consideration the opinion of the other ones. Several people sound angry and even click the angry reaction. A few do not participate even when they have great ideas because they lack the confidence to share.
How do you think can we help the people in Barangay Masunurin to communicate well with one another? Ronnie Peterson gave us 5 ways to avoid communication breakdown. Let's see how this may help Barangay Masunurin to communicate well with one another. The first one is to have the clarity of thought before speaking. Doing this will help the people in Barangay Masunurin to avoid giving out confusing statements, so their ideas can be understood well by others. The second one is to learn to listen. Just a dear reminder, don't just hear them out, listen from your heart. Doing this will help the people in Barangay Masunurin to avoid misunderstanding each other. The third one is to take care of your body language and tone. Doing this will help the people in Barangay Masunurin to keep their emotions in check and have a healthy and relaxed online environment while communicating with one another. The fourth one is to build up your confidence by asking for feedback and observing others. Doing this will help the people in Barangay Masunurin to voice out their ideas and opinions without having to be shy. Who knows if their ideas are those which will solve the barangay's problem. The fifth one is to communicate face-to-face on important issues. Would you agree that the problem Barangay Masunurin has been discussing is considered an important issue? I know, right? Captain Alvin and Barangay Masunurin. If you follow the 5 ways to avoid communication breakdown by Ronnie Peterson, you will be able to communicate well with one another. And surely, your problem will be solved. These 5 ways of avoiding communication breakdown are not just the only possible ways to solve communication breakdown problems. Here are some other strategies you may follow to avoid communication breakdown. Keep focused. Put in mind the purpose of communication. What's your purpose for communicating to others? And what do you think is the purpose of the person you are communicating to? Speak intelligibly. Use appropriate speaking volume, speech rate, proper enunciation, and acceptable pronunciation. Doing this will allow our receivers to understand what we're saying. Listen with your ears and eyes. Pay attention to what people say, act, and how they say it. Minimize distractions. Find a quiet place. Lessen the cause for confusion to make room for focus and concentration. Be specific. Use simple and concise words so you can deliver your message straight to the point. Do not jump to conclusions. Before you give your comments and judgment, be sure that you have listened attentively to the speaker. Conclusions should be drawn after a thorough analysis of points given or information received. Again, here are the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. Keep focused. Speak intelligibly. Listen with your ears and eyes. Minimize distractions. Be specific. Do not jump to conclusions. Follow these strategies and it's certain that you will be able to avoid communication breakdown. But wait, there's more. Here are more tips we can follow to avoid communication breakdown. These are 7 C's of effective communication by Broom, Cutlip, and Center in 2012, which can be found in their book, Effective Public Relations. C for completeness. You, as a speaker, should include everything that the receiver needs to hear, respond, react, or evaluate properly. You should be able to convey all important details so your listener or audience will be able to grasp your intended message. C for conciseness. You, as a speaker, should say your message directly or straight to the point and should be expressed in the least possible number of words. You should not include irrelevant information. C for consideration. You, as a speaker, should give high regard and courtesy to your audience's background information, such as their culture, education, religion, status, mood, feelings, and needs. This will help you build rapport or connection with your audience. C for concreteness. You, as a speaker, should make certain that your message is backed up by facts, figures, and real-life examples or situations. C for courtesy. You, as a speaker, should show respect to your receivers through understanding their culture, values, and beliefs. You must choose your words carefully to avoid offending your audience. Showing courtesy helps create a positive vibe and healthy communication environment with the audience. C for clearness. You, as a speaker, should use simple and clear words to express your ideas. Avoid double meanings so as not to confuse your audience. And C for correctness. You, as a speaker, should avoid grammatically wrong statements to show credibility and effectiveness of the message. Again, the 7 C's of effective communication are completeness, conciseness, consideration, concreteness, courtesy, clearness, and correctness. Communication barriers are inevitable, but if we can only follow the ways, strategies, and tips from communication experts, we can avoid them and communicate with everyone effectively. Now it's time for an activity. There are two columns, column A and column B. Match column A with the best answer in column B. Are you ready? Let's begin. Number 1. It refers to the use of simple and precise words. Number 2. The speaker should identify his or her purpose for speaking. Number 3. He or she must pay attention to the verbal and nonverbal cues. Number 4. He or she must find closed areas or quiet place to avoid communication breakdown. And number 5. He or she must have an appropriate speaking volume, speech rate, and acceptable enunciation. Have you answered? Great! Let's check! Number 1. It refers to the use of simple and precise words. The answer is letter B. Be specific. Number 2. The speaker should identify his or her purpose for speaking. The answer is letter A. Keep focused. Number 3. He or she must pay attention to the verbal and non-verbal cues. The answer is letter E. Listen with your ears and eyes. Number 4. He or she must find closed areas or quiet place to avoid communication breakdown. The answer is letter F. Minimize distractions. And number 5. He or she must have an appropriate speaking volume, speech rate, and acceptable enunciation. The answer is letter D. Speak intelligibly. What a fantastic job! Now, we may proceed to activity 2. We will identify the 7 C's of effective communication as described in each number. Are you ready? Let's start! Number 1. It helps to increase the credibility of the speaker and reduce negative impact to the audience. Number 2. It conveys all pertinent details so the listener or audience will be able to grasp the intended message. Number 3. It is expressed in the least possible number of words and straight to the point. Number 4. It implies good choice of words and language and a consideration of the audience's perspectives and feelings on the part of the sender. And number 5. It is backed up by facts, figures, and real-life examples or situations. Are you done? Shall we answer? Number 1. It helps to increase the credibility of the speaker and reduce negative impact to the audience. This is correctness. To build credibility, we must avoid saying grammatically wrong statements. Number 2. It conveys all pertinent details so the listener or audience will be able to grasp the intended message. This is completeness. Incomplete details may cause communication breakdown, and we can avoid this if we will include all important details that the receiver needs to know. Number 3. It is expressed in the least possible number of words and straight to the point. This is conciseness. We have to be direct and straight to the point when delivering our message. Number 4. It implies good choice of words and language and a consideration of the audience's perspectives and feelings on the part of the sender. This is courtesy. Choosing the right words show that you respect your audience's perspectives and feelings. And number 5, it is backed up by facts, figures, and real-life examples or situations. The answer is concreteness. The message can be understood better and are more credible if they are backed up by facts and evidences. Students of the Philippines, we are finally done discussing the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. Now, before we end this episode, can you give me more tips on how we can avoid communication breakdown? You may answer based on your experience and observation only. Just a Derry reminder, never ever plagiarize. To answer this, do post on your Facebook using the hashtag DerryMinder so I can easily see your answers. The best answer will be featured on DepEd Philippines Facebook page. On our next episode, we will talk about the different functions of communication. So make sure to read ahead. Once again, this is Ma'am Derry, bringing you lessons on communication and leaving you with a Derry reminder. Don't just speak with your mind, speak with your heart. Ciao!